Right, let's start having a look at this then, gents. So we've had a look at the date now for the dissertation proposal, because the original one on the 6th of February was definitely not achievable, and even the 6th of March was not achievable. So looking at what Matt's availability is and what everybody can do, bearing in mind we got the summer as a bit of extra time, at least 2 months extra than you'd normally have anyway. So we'll have the dissertation proposals in at noon on Friday the 10th of April, and that'll they'll go in online. We'll have a look at that later and mark from there as usual as a Word document. Okay, that's the next part of the assessment. On from there is the dissertation progress presentations, and I don't see any reason to change the original dates. There'll be bookable appointments, and again I'll show you how they work as well, with showing you the ones from the other group that started in September a little bit later on. But I put single person in group enrolments on there, so you can go and book your own appointments, first come first served basis. So they'll be on one of the 3 weeks, 7th, 14th and 21st of October. So you can plan that in your diaries. There's an ongoing dissertation tutorial and online journal with supervisor. I've changed away from having 15% of the marks for an interim report. Seems a little bit of a waste of time. Rather give the marks for firm engagement with tutorial meetings with me, and we're keeping an online diary of progress, meeting minutes, whatever is relevant, that I will, as regularly as I can, comment on, and again I'll show you that a bit later on in this session. Okay, that will be finalised at the same time as the final report, so we'll cut on that as soon as the final report's handed in, and I'll give the marks for both of those together. So that mark combines with the proposal and the final report into one whole mark for reports, because there's only two real marks for this, one for reports, one for presentations. A couple of weeks for me to mark the dissertation reports over Christmas, and then we have our presentations again in January with bookable appointments online. So all of that can be done so that you can plan in your diaries and make sure you're available to have a presentation. Very much the onus here is on the student to run this. I'm there to guide, so it's up to the student to book, email me and say I want to have a dissertation meeting, we'll buy agreement set up. Don't have to be on any particular day of the week, so as long as I'm available between my teaching times, I'm happy to meet. I'd prefer not to do anything beyond about 4:30 for reasons of my son is here with me, and I don't want him to hang about too long. So, but I think most of you can be here before that time anyway. So, all right. And then so that's the final presentation, and that's what the marker's for. Right, so having a look at the module website now, I have changed the way I'm laying things out a little bit this year. Instead of getting all the assignment points lost in all that other guidance, general guidance that's put on by UCS, I've renamed. I'll put a section in here with assessment hand-in points, and then there's the general guidance has been left under that link. So if we click that, it's got all the general UCS guides with regard to handing your assessments in online. I've kept that underneath that link, and then I'll put each assignment's got its own link here in the left hand menu, and these ones at the moment are hidden to students because they're not ready to be released yet, but the proposal is under this one, and I've already, again on my screen you can see them both. You guys aren't going to see this one because that's run out now. They've all handed theirs in, so you've got that, and this I'll release this now. Now we've decided on a date. I'll edit that and make it right and release it so that you can use it. Okay, there is no brief. The brief for the proposal is really from the guidance that is in the handbook about what the proposal should contain. The best guidance is what's in the grading criteria that I'm looking for, that you've set some measures for success, that you've done some initial planning, and that there's some ambition in the project. So again, the best area for guidance of what should go in that proposal is in there. And sometimes the shorter the proposal, as long as that hit the right notes, hit them marking points, quite often the shorter proposals are the ones that get the better marks. It's not looking for too much detail at that stage, but we want to know how you're going to measure success and who's going to qualify that that's successful. If you're making something like you're suggesting, Bob, and that the ultimate thing is that trial and that works and that does the job. When someone's producing like a procedure or something, that's where it gets tricky, because who's going to qualify that procedure is a valid procedure and a good one? So let's say you're a couple of guys working now coming up with test procedures for a particular piece of kit, who, unless that's signed off by the chief engineer saying we're now going to use this test procedure, what's qualifying that as a valid piece of work, or is it just something that's been done but is not going to be used? So that's where it gets tricky.
Well, I'm alright. I can borrow Richard to sign off on anything.
Yeah. That's it. You shouldn't have said that for the tape, Bob. I'll hold you to that.
Oh, you didn't use it for that.
Alright, so that's where you'll get your hand-ins to. Right. Dissertation Journal. Now, what I've done is, and to try this out earlier, I set up a test one, and the idea being this is a student to tutor thing, so I can see what you put. Nobody else, none of the other students can. So you can write journal entries. And if I go in this test one, I can show you that I haven't made any entries because I'm a member of it as well. But if we look under here, we can see that this is just a test. So Joe's put in captain's log, today's the beginning and the end, and then I've written a comment on it like so. So you can use that to keep a diary of what's going on in your project. And I'm suggesting that as a sort of ballpark minimum, I might expect to see an entry at least once a fortnight. Because sometimes there's a lot going on in a project, sometimes there's not very much. So sometimes you might be doing several entries a week, other times you might not be doing so many. But on average, once a fortnight is something I might expect to see. And I try and get to look at that and comment on them as regularly as possible. Maybe not put a comment on every entry, but at least let you know that I'm reading them. And that's what I'm going to try and do. So if you want to have a go just trying it out on the practice one, that's entirely up to you. Okay, I'll have a look in a couple of 3 days and see whether there's anything on there, comment back, so you can see us working. Alright? Okay. We haven't got any computers in this room, unfortunately, when I done this last time, we were in 301, and the guys could have a go while we was in there. But I'm sure you'll get the hang of it.
And if you can't spell captain, is that okay as well?
Oh, it don't matter. Not for the special, not for the practice ones. Certainly, it don't matter.
Good captains, yeah.
Let's just go in here a minute and have a look. How do I use the function above to add one? Where does it say that?
It's up left.
Create a journal entry. So when you do that, you've got loads of different things. Unfortunately, in the comments, my commenting, all I can really put in is plain text. In the actual entry, you can attach things like files. You can put you've got all the functions you want to put media in, insert images, and so on. So that gives you more flexibility in those entries. If you want to put a little picture of something in that you've taken, you can do that. So
the video files.
Yeah, I think.
Is that possible?
Yeah, I think so. Insert or embed media. Probably, if you want to put a video in, it'd probably be best to upload it to YouTube, and then embed it in there.
Right.
And if you can't find out how to do that, let me know, and I will avail you of the information of how. That's how I do mine. All mine are put on YouTube and then just embedded. That's usually easier than trying to include it directly on the site. If you put a YouTube video up, you'll see somewhere underneath it there's a menu item share, and in that what you do is you get the embed code, which is in HTML, and if you look at this, you can switch to HTML, and then you just paste that embed code in the HTML part of it and save it, and that video will be embedded in the page. That might be handy for you, Bob, mightn't it, if you're what you're trying to do.
It might be,
it might be worthwhile just having that if you want me to see how your trials are going or something later on.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So that's how you make an entry. You're able to attach files and all sorts. If you're halfway through, you can save it a draft or post it. I haven't put anything in, so I'm going to cancel. But that's how you do it anyway. That's there, and the ones who are doing really well now are using that quite regularly, and I can see that something's actually going on, rather than wondering what's going on with this project. Alright? Yeah? So that's the journal. If you want, I did create, and I will change, that's a link to the handbook. I'll change the copy once I've updated that date and saved it all properly. If you want, I created, before I decided with the journal idea, I created a meeting pro forma for taking minutes of a dissertation meeting with me, because my thinking there is that that's your responsibility to take minutes of that meeting and put them in the journal somehow. Yeah, so when you have a dissertation meeting one-to-one with me, it's your responsibility to take some minutes or make some notes in there and upload them to this, or attach them to a journal entry as a record of that meeting. There's a pro forma on there that you can use if you want to, or you can come up with your own. You can see what it look like. Yeah. So as a record of meeting content and so on. Okay. So I was going to do that paper based, as the journals might as well attach them to that. It's a good record of what's going on. All right. Put quite a lot of work into that this year to tidy this up a bit. So, I'm quite happy, pleased with what I've done so far. I like to be pleased with myself. The last thing I want to show you on here is in the resources section down here, there's a, and I might have shown, I can't remember, I've got a funny feeling you and Richard might have seen this before, I don't know, when we talked about an assignment. But there's a pretty good assignment toolkit, and there's a section on dissertations that's probably well worth a look through. I'll just have a look at a couple of little bits of it, because that is a big and important piece of work, and you can sort of browse through it page by page, or go to bits and pieces that are relevant. And if we look at the getting started page, there's a little bit of guidance on there that I think that's what these pages are all about. Introduction to dissertations. Particularly the proposal. These are research proposals, so there's some useful questions to ask. Do you have the time, the skills, the knowledge and access to people and materials? And that is key, because a lot of the guys do get stuck, but they can't get the help from someone they need. They thought they were going to get it easy, and that person's not easily available. And that's quite a stumbling block. I'm having problems. I'm not going to finish my project because I can't get with the design guys. They haven't got time to see me. I hear that quite a lot. And so it's well worth thinking about whether you've got the full access to the people that you need. If you need other people, that is. Is it effective? Does it produce answers to the questions posed in your project? Does it meet the official requirements of the assignment? So you've got to demonstrate the whole process and give serious consideration to what you intend to do. Yeah. And now I've said that, I need to know what you're going to achieve, and how you're going to measure that achievement. If there has to be some risk, if there's going to be any value in the project at all. Yeah, that's got to have risk of that you might not be successful. Because like if you're doing like one of the other dissertations is around finding out what happened to hydraulic accumulation as you go deeper and deeper. Now the results of those tests might say that the current accumulation systems aren't going to be successful at let's say 3,000 feet. That don't mean the project is a failure. In fact, that's a success, because we bloody well found out that these accumulators aren't going to work, and we need to come up with something different.
Yeah.
That's a successful project. That would have been equally successful if you find out they will work, because you proved something you didn't know. You now know it's going to work. So whether the test results are positive or negative doesn't matter in terms of the result of the actual dissertation itself. Whereas if you're going to make something that you want to work and that don't work, well, that is the project a failure, or have you learned something from doing it? And if you have, that you need to redesign, then in a finite time that might still be a good outcome. Yeah. But not achieving anything of what you said you was got to do in the first place is not a good outcome. Not having an answer to the question of will the accumulators work at 3,000 feet would be a failure in the project. But having an answer either way is a successful outcome.
Okay, so
because some of the students, the younger ones, they think the project's failed because they haven't proven the accumulators will work at 3,000 foot, because that's what they wanted it to happen. No, that's not the idea. The idea is to find out whether they will.
So if I, for example, posed the question whether it was possible to have a non-lethal means of removing vermin from offshore helidecks.
Yeah. You're now rephrasing your dissertation question, Bob, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Because ultimately that is what you're doing. Will this prototype work? That's all you're doing with any prototype,
can it
isn't
be
it?
done? Yeah. Can can it be? Can
Yeah.
a cheaper solution to spending millions of pounds
Yeah,
be found?
exactly. But because to say your project is that you are going to design a laser guided vortex generator that will scare seagulls away is a bit dangerous.
Yes.
But
yeah,
to say you're going to find out whether you can, then
Yeah.
either way, you've got a good result.
You've got a measure of success even if it fails horribly.
Yes, because you've found out. Well, you've found out that particular iteration. That, like anything else, people will keep working at it until there are no more avenues to go down anymore, won't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
You'll keep if you had a finite, infinite time to carry on with that project, you'd keep trying different iterations of nozzle or whatever you did to try and make it work.
There's more we learn from failure than there is from success.
Yeah. Even in a game of chess, you learn more from a
yeah.
game you lose than you do one you thrash someone, don't you?
Of course. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you learn that ain't the way to go. I need to come up with another move. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So, this is a learning process, and the idea that the dissertation is a culmination of what you've learnt on the course to learn even more in a major project.
Yeah. I'm coming to the conclusion that
You are
I've bitten off a lot.
a lot more than you thought you could.
It,
Thought you were.
There's a lot of elements to. Yeah. There's a lot of elements to it, and there's also equally as much research if I'm going to basically meet the criteria of a primary dissertation.
Yeah, I mean, there's even a section on developing your research question. Look. And this is not, in many ways, is not that well suited to an engineering style project stroke dissertation, but you can get something from it.
I like the bomb.
Yeah. Got to be careful about what that's on about, is you can't be too vague. What are the effects of workplace bullying?
Better productivity, more outcomes.
For the record,
Is that all right?
Your
Yeah,
Honour. More specific would be analysis of the experiences of workplace bullying on the part of the male graduate interns in the construction industry. So, I think what I'm saying is, don't make it too wide.
Yeah.
Don't make your project too broad. There was someone who come and see me yesterday who's getting into lots of different side issue projects that could come out of his current project, and I said, look, be very careful. Keep it narrow for now. Those side things can be things for further investigation beyond the end of your dissertation, and you can write about that somewhere right near the end of the report. But it's very easy to start, as things come to your mind, start thinking about, you might think of other reasons you could use this vortex generator. Crowd control at some kind of demonstration or something might come to mind,
Yeah.
but you're then digressing away from what you really intended in the first place, and you haven't got time to do that.
Yeah.
Right? So there's some guidance on there, and just have a look at dissertation supervision.
The question is, by attacking this with a practical outcome, there's not going to be the outline of what we've spoken about tomorrow. It doesn't really cover an awful lot of research other than individual topics. It's not a research based.
No, not really.
Dissertation at all.
No.
Am I still going to be able to sort of do reasonably well?
Well, you must have to do some kind of research.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of little bits and pieces, but very little, as in scientific papers on the subject. I'm not going to come up with original texts and academic.
No,
papers
but
on
what your
control.
literature research will turn up very little, and you're almost doing primary research in that field because nobody else has done it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's pretty much where it's going to
So you are making prototypes and trying them and getting results and trying to get something to work. And that's always what there is in the first place when someone come up with a new idea, isn't there?
Yeah.
There are vortex generators being used for anything else that is remotely like this project.
Yes. Children's toys.
Children's
Is
toys.
the only application, practical application I know of.
And the children's toy in question?
It's called an air zucker. It's designed for annoying parents. Yeah.
Is it? Oh,
It's a
okay.
very low-powered version of
What you're trying to
what
build?
and
Okay.
obviously it's not self-targeting.
No.
All
So,
things like
but
that.
can you get something from that? And there will be research in laser guidance as well.
Yes.
There'll be stuff out there in that.
Yeah.
So you'll have research in that area, but not so much in the area of the vortex generator and what you're trying to do with that.
No, well, those areas have never been combined.
No. So here we come.
Yeah.
Bob Mathers breaking new ground.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Okay.
Or trying to anyway.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a section on the relationship and stuff about setting appointments. There's stuff about referencing an academic writing style. I'm going to leave you to browse that, and I'm always there for guidance. So if you're unsure about anything, just email me, have a meeting or whatever, and ask. I'm there for guide. The supervisor's there to guide. It's not really there to say, look here, look there, do this. But I'm there to give some general kind of guidance as to whether it can keep you on track. All right? Yeah. And certainly there, face to face aren't the only means. I'm quite happy to do emails. Quite happy to do FaceTime or Skype or whatever if you can't get here for a long period of time. I'm currently supporting a dissertation with Rob Starlin, and he's in Australia. So I'm having a meeting with him over FaceTime tomorrow morning. So nothing is insurmountable as far as that is concerned. Even the final presentations, if need be, can be done over the internet if that's necessary at the time. I don't think it will need to be for any of us, but that option is there if we need it. I've already done a foundation degree one with a lad in Germany and another one in Norway, so nothing is insurmountable in that sense. We have the technology. Alright?
Okay.
Prepare for each session. That's a good point actually. If you have an appointment with me, that's probably a good idea to let me know a little bit about what concerns you've got or what you want to talk about before you come. So if there's any preparation I can do to be ready for that, I can do so, rather than me being surprised. And that mean, because if I can't answer there and then, that might need to be another appointment that might be unnecessary if I'd have known what you were looking for in the first place. So if there's something really specific, if I know about it before we actually have the meeting, then I can prepare for that and have an answer or something to bring to the meeting for you. Alright? I don't want the latest tweet. Why do I get that on there? Yeah. What else did I want to cover? I don't know that I want to cover anything else actually, just have a general chat with each of you about what your ideas are and if there's any overall overriding questions that you've got. So if you're talking to people who are watching the video and aren't in this session and want to use it, you email me with any questions you've got, and I'll get back to you. If not, I'll see you soon, and we'll have a chat about it.
Do you sort of recommend the meetings to be every